Good evening, everybody. Actually, I don't know what time it is where you are, but anyway, this is my Masked Singer vlog. I'm doing season 8, episode 8 right now. Very good episode. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. I am going to tell you who was revealed on this episode, though, and on this episode, and who they turned out to be. Before I get started on that, though, I would like to say for those of you who may have started watching this season of American Horror Story and tapped out before the season was over, because it does have a lot of sexual content and is pretty gritty in spots. But I would like for you guys to, if you stopped watching it, go back and finish watching it, or if you are still in the process of watching it, stick to it, because it has a very good, very strong message. The next to last episode, or no, the 7th episode made me cry some. The 9th episode, I'll get it right one of these days. The 8th episode made me cry some. The 9th episode, I cried pretty much all the way through, because I realized what was actually going on and who the killer was. And the final episode just really laid everything out on the table for people who may not have already gotten the idea. So if you're watching it or stopped watching it because it was too gritty and had too much sexual content for you, like if you're watching it on Hulu or something like that, just fast forward through those parts, even if you want to, until you see who the killer actually turns out to be. I think they did a good job on it, though. I don't know that all of the sexual content was necessary, but as my son said, they are American Horror Story and they love to push the limits. That being said, now for season 8, episode 8 of The Masked Singer, because that is, after all, what this vlog is about. So it was comedy night. I was watching the show and listening to Nick, and he said comedy night, and then he said comedy roast night, and I was like, it seems like he's unsure which one, so I don't know. Then Ken came out and roasted Nick, and apparently it was comedy roast night. I have never really particularly cared for comedy roast, because it's like insulting people to try and get a laugh, and I do not really go in for that, but some of the stuff that they said was pretty funny, I thought. So Queen Bride returned to defend his title. Nick kept calling him her, and I'm like, I mean, a bride, but like we all know that it's a guy now, so just say he. But anyway, so yeah, he was back to defend his title against 2 new characters, and the first thing that I noticed was a smashed chocolate cake. Remember, he said he's known for tearing things up, or however he worded it. There was a globe with a crown on it. We revisited the clues from before, and then they showed that belt with the musical notes on it that looks like a wrestling belt. And they showed a rose, which I hadn't noticed on the other one. There was the fiery snake, possibly a dragon, the little buttons like you put on your shirt, that one of them had the rock and roll sign, and oh yeah, duh, the other one was the fiery snake, or dragon. So he mentioned his kingdom's door, which took me to the show Kingdom, but I'll talk about that more here in a minute. Anyway, he also said he will conquer anyone who comes between him and his crown. Now, I was taking all of this to mean like his government, at this point. That's how I was taking it. And there was a new clue that was a set list that read 1, become a hero queen, which was already marked out. So he had already achieved becoming a hero queen. Number 2 was act up, which he said last week he is known to do. And the panel took the act up clue to mean that he was an actor, and I was like, I mean, he literally said that he's known for cutting up, acting up, tearing stuff up. So I don't think that was what it meant necessarily, though he did say that he's an action hero also. And he asked, quote, ring any bells, after they showed this new clue. That's what he said, ring any bells, end quote. So at this point, I'm like, Call me crazy, but right now I'm thinking Michael Bisping, UFC fighter and actor. And then because he held a world title, and this is where I realized the globe with the crown on it could mean that he had a world title rather than being referencing his connection to his government. Could be referencing his title that he held, right? Though I had considered a couple of wrestlers before. Um, one of them, of course, being Stone Cold Steve Austin, the main one being Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he said, quote, tonight's opus is going out to Miss McCarthy Wahlberg, who, okay, quote, tonight's opus is going out to Miss McCarthy Wahlberg, who wasn't fooling anyone with that white wedding dress, end quote. And then I was like, Billy Idol? Because he sang the song White Wedding, And then Bride performed White Wedding by Billy Idol, and I was like, so probably not Billy Idol. He's British. I would consider him to be a world champion, He did a very good job, but for some reason I wasn't getting the rocker vibes that I got last week with him, especially when he sang All Star, right? I was like, maybe it's a rocker. It could possibly even be Ozzy, which is funny when I think about who I decided that he most likely was. But so, yeah. So then I went back to Kingdom, which I thought of earlier whenever he mentioned his kingdom. I didn't make a note of it there, but I did think about it there. And I was like, though Nick Jonas was on the US TV series Kingdom, I don't feel like it's him. The person seemed to have like a hardcore personality and said that they're known for tearing stuff up and stuff like that and acting up. And to me, that didn't describe Nick Jonas, right? So I was like, maybe it's Jonathan Moss Tucker who played his brother on Kingdom. I need to finish watching that show, in fact, but he was the one on the show that I thought most likely his personality went along with the personality of Bride, right? And I believe there was another clue. Oh, yes. Okay. So then comedy legend Jon Lovitz came on, and he brought a new clue but what he said was, Bride has a movie career and likes to show off his chest, just like Jenny McCarthy. And then he's like, minus the movie career. she doesn't have a movie career, which she was in a few movies, but anyway. And him saying that made me think of either The Rock or John Cena, both of whom I had briefly considered when he was first on, because I was like, it seems like a wrestler with the music belt thing. So, Brad's comment about that clue was, quote, I just want to say the Rex appeal tonight is off the charts. Am I right? And that was a direct quote from him. And I was like, maybe, that made me think the Rex appeal of it, which he was a dinosaur. I kept thinking he looked like a dragon, but he was a dinosaur. And I was like, well, so maybe it's someone from the Jurassic Park movies, right? I don't know. Like, my mind was all over with him. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I should know, but I don't know, right? So the panel's guesses for him initially included Robin with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, because he still had that rock and roll, or that rock legend vibe. Ken said Matthew McConaughey, which made me consider Channing Tatum. I forgot about that because of the shirts off thing with that. Matthew McConaughey had his shirt off a lot also. And I did agree with what Ken was saying about the accent possibly being a Texas accent. And he was trying to cover by making it sound British. So anyway, I was like, his accent could actually be a Texas drawl, y'all. He told Ken that is an honor among honors for him to think that he's Matthew McConaughey, which did not mean he was not him, of course, So Nicole went with David Arquette. People really liked her guess when she initially said it. I thought it was an interesting guess, but I'm like, I don't recall ever seeing David Arquette in a movie with his shirt off. And not that I recall. Doesn't mean he wasn't in one with his shirt off, but you know, because my memory is not all it used to be, for one thing. Okay, so let me think. I'm getting text, so there may be some blank spots in here, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I was like, I feel like he's a British fighter who is or was world champion, therefore the globe with the crown upon it, right? And the wrestling type belt that had the musical notes on it. My mind, as I said, is all over the place for him, honestly. He said he's not worried about his competition, and I was like, I still think he could be Ozzy Osbourne, though. I don't know for sure. Excuse me, I turned the heat down in here because I'm the only one home, but I'm still pretty warm. So anyway, so the next the next character, the new character, the first new character was Snowstorm. Pretty cool outfit. I thought they could have made her body like the head to toe suit thingy. I thought they could have made more sparkly though. It was just like literally white looking to me. But anyway, it was a cute outfit, as all of them are. So her first clue said, can't sit down. And I was like, wonder what that means. I'll come back to that in a bit because I forgot about that clue whenever I was doing my guesses at first. And I was like, oh, wait, what was her first clue again? And I went back to it. So anyway, she is the first female performer of this particular group. It would be nice, in my opinion, if there was at least one male in these semifinals. So far, they're both females, but so they showed her polishing her snowflake, and she said, to do what she does, you have to be cold-blooded. I was like, oh my. Really, but she also had me all over the place, and I'm still wondering who she is, you know. But yeah, she said to do what I do, you have to be cold-blooded. I did briefly consider Angelina Jolie, who plays Maleficent. But I was like, I mean, I don't really feel like that's her. Her character makes sense for her, she said. She can be a total bee lizard when she wants to be, but swears she's just the sweetest thing, which seems to me like it's a quote from someone, and that makes me think of people from the South, like Georgia, Mississippi, places like that. But yeah. And she froze one of the men in black with like smoke coming from her hand for wind. It was supposed to be, I'm sure, or what. Anyway, she froze a guy. And they showed her cooking chestnuts. I was like, cooking something? What are those? I can't tell if I chopped up hot dogs maybe to me or something. But apparently they were chestnuts, which makes me think of a Christmas movie or Christmas show or something along that line. But it could also just be because she is the snowstorm, and snowstorms come in the winter when people roast chestnuts for the holidays, right? So the snow around her, I noticed, was pink, but I didn't feel like she was pink. She said she started working when she was 18, but it took, I wish I had written down exactly how she said it, but anyway, she said she started working when she was 18, but it took 2 something years to see herself on the screen. Like, the way she worded it made me think of like the other term she used, which also started with the letter T, made me think that like that meant it took exactly 2 years pretty much for her to see herself on the screen. It showed a speed dating sign. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Anyway, it showed a speed dating sign, and whenever it showed that, I was like, there was a movie where a couple of women speed dated, and it was Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock who were on that movie. I can't remember what the movie was right offhand. It was one of the ones where they played for police together, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that was who that made me think of. And Sandra Bullock actually is from Texas. I hadn't considered her, and I didn't look into her career. Dang it. But anyway, she said being a woman, she had to snowplow her way into a male dominated industry, which acting, modeling, comedy, singing, like everything realistically is a male dominated industry, pretty much, right? Actually, no, modeling's not. I take that back. Everything except modeling, pretty much. And she said things haven't always been pitch perfect. And I thought it was interesting because that made a few of the members of the panel think of Anna Kendrick, like they named her specifically, and then none of them guessed her. And I was like, so you just forgot about the pitch perfect clue, which sometimes those clues mean something and sometimes they're to throw us off, you know. Hold on a minute. I'm going to turn this fan up. I had it on medium while I took a nap earlier. And when I woke up, it was on low. And sometimes the way our electrical system is or something, it does, like every third time that I turn on my light switch, it resets to the next lowest notch. But though I turned our heat down a degree, I am burning up. So anyway, see if I, oh yes, pitch perfect is where I was. I'll talk more about that here in a minute. One of the men in black was reading Snowstorm magazine. And so I was trying to remember when it started out how old Oprah was when she started working. I felt like she was 16. She did radio for quite some time. But yeah, I considered her there for a bit. And then when they showed the Snowstorm magazine, I was like, well, maybe it is Oprah because she has her own magazine and it's not like it's another magazine that has her on the cover of it. It's like her picture's on the front and it says Snowstorm on it, you know, so that made me totally think of Oprah right there. She said she has had some failures, but bombing wildly has made her fearless. And I was like, I don't know that Oprah has ever had any failures. She might have, but I don't know. She seems like a really strong woman to me who has always been able to succeed at what she's trying to do. And she said her song goes to Nicole, who has more famous exes than Nick has baby mamas. Nicole's like, that's a lot of baby mamas. But anyway, oh, good Lord, I've got the burps now. And so she sang Thank You Next by Ariana Grande. And the thing I always love about this song is the fact that in the title, it is literally that, thank you, comma, next, thank you, next. But when it is saying it's thank you next, thank you next, thank you next, and I'm like, that is not even the same thought to me. But anyway, criticizing the song. She did an excellent job singing the song that she did, I think. My sister felt like Bride was the best on the show and the best of the season. I was like between him and Snowstorm. I thought they both did real good. But so yeah, that is what she's saying. And I was thinking a few people at this point from the clues. I was thinking Reese Witherspoon, the Pink Snow, you know, Legally Blonde, everything that she had was pink. And the Southern deal, there are a couple of clues in there that kind of make me feel like she is someone who is Southern, possibly, partly because of the pink. Also, I was thinking of Paris Hilton, that and the fact that whenever her family members turned 18, their parents made them go to work. So I was like, so maybe, but I'm pretty sure that her and Nicole Richie, forgot her name, Nicole Richie, I'm pretty sure that they were on A Simple Life, like when they were 18. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that she was. And then, of course, the Pitch Perfect thing made me think first, not of Anna Kendrick, but of Rebel Wilson, whom I love. And then also of Anna Kendrick, whom I also love. They're both excellent actresses. They both do stand-up comedy. They sing. And they're just all around, you know, very good at what they do, and both of them actually make a lot of commercials also. So maybe I will watch for clues about some of the commercials they do. Like Anna Kendrick does them for some hotels. I am thinking Wyndham. Could be wrong. I can't remember right offhand. And Rebel Wilson does them for some of the vitamins. She does them for actually several different things. So keep an eye out and see if maybe that is what, like, anything points me in either of them's directions from commercials that they do. So when she sang the song, to me, she sounded like Selena Gomez. But I'm like, but many people have sounded like her to me, and none of them were her. So the clue from Jon Lovitz for her was that she shared the stage with A-list. She shared the stage with A-list superstars like Rob Lowe and non-A-listers like Dr. Ken, which made me laugh. And now that I think about it, trying to think. I wish I could look stuff up on my phone while I'm filming these, and I meant to look this up, but I forgot to. But I feel like Rebel Wilson has been in movies with both of them, but I don't know for sure. And I know a lot of you are probably going, that's not Rebel Wilson's body. She has lost a lot of weight since she played for Fat Amy, for one thing. For another thing, part of the reason the suit is the way that it is, which seems to me like it's a little loose fitting too, is so that you can't exactly tell what her body type is so much. So her comment about the clue was, those were all accurate, and she's sorry she's scared to get too close to Nick. She said she doesn't want to get pregnant. Oh, and then she said, but maybe I do, and giggled. And to me, her giggle was familiar and made me think of Rebel Wilson, possibly Anna Kendrick. I'm thinking about the Sandra Bullock thing in reference to the she doesn't want to get pregnant, and then saying maybe she does because she wanted to get pregnant, but she adopted that little boy. I think now she has 2 children that she adopted. I could be wrong about that. But that did kind of make me think of her whenever she said that. But I am still, for her, leaning toward really Rebel Wilson. I thought that I made a note up here somewhere, and this was the point where I wrote up here at the top with a great big star. Think she is a stand-up comedian, since her first clue was she can't sit. And as I mentioned, both Rebel Wilson and Anna Kendrick, in addition to singing, acting, doing commercials and all of that, both of them do stand-up comedy. I made some notes on the other page here about the ages some of them were, or the ages my guesses were when they started doing stuff. Reese Witherspoon was, that's the wrong one. Reese Witherspoon was 15 when she was in the first thing that she was in. I'm not going to remember what it was. I only wrote 2 of them down. But yeah, Reese Witherspoon was 15 when she did her first one, so I was like, okay, so it's not Reese. Paris Hilton was 11 years old when she was on a show, and she did like episodes of various shows and whatnot and the other, but she was on Zoolander when she was 20, but I'm still not really leaning toward her because I feel like she was working regularly well before she turned 18 in the acting industry and such. So Rebel Wilson, I did not write it down, but she's an Australian actress, of course, and she was on a series. I thought it was a movie, but according to the internet, it was a series called Pizza. She was on it. I want to say that would have been when she was 20, though. And according to stuff on the internet, when she would have been about 20, 21, she went to acting school. So like possibly she worked, started working when she was 18. and didn't even start doing acting until about 2 years later. But I don't know for sure. That is the part about her that has me going, well, okay, maybe it's not her. She does do stand up. She's an excellent actress. She's an excellent singer. To me, when she sang one of the songs, she sounded a lot like Rebel Wilson, like more like her than she did Anna Kendrick to me, but they do sound a lot alike when they sing. Now, so on that note, I also looked into Selena Gomez, of course, and she was 11 years old when she started acting. The first thing that I found that she was on, anyway, not including episodes of Barney. I always forget that Selena was on Barney. So I don't really know how Pink would reference, well, Pink would reference Rebel Wilson because she was on Hairspray and she wore that pink outfit on it. And she has been on a lot of things where she wore pink, or there was pink around her now that I think about it. But anyway, so, and that being said, Anna Kendrick, I found, did do some, like on her IMDb thing, there are some shows or movies that she did when she was 18. I want to say there are like 3 of them, but nothing that was very big. And then it was more than, this was more than 2 years later. But when she was 23 years old, she was on Twilight. Y'all remember Anna Kendrick being on Twilight? She was Bella's best friend, hung around with Mikey. And so my thought on this is like that, she saw herself on the big screen. So for that reason, I'm like, it could be Anna Kendrick. And as I said with Bride, like I was all over the place with her and Bride both. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like there are so many possibilities for who they can be that it makes it hard for me to know who they are, if that makes sense. And I feel like it does. But I'm really leaning toward her being a stand-up comic, and I know that Rebel Wilson and Anna Kendrick both do that. And I'm trying to think of other like stand-up comedians who wear pink a lot or are known for pink or femininity or whatever, and nobody really comes to mind for me. When I realized that she was a comedian, the first 3 people that came to my mind for stand-up comedy before I was like, well, Rebel Wilson and Anna Kendrick both do that, were Lily Tomlin, whom I believe the panel has guessed quite a bit, so maybe it's her, Tina Fey, and Amy Poehler. Though I feel like Amy Poehler has already been on. I think I'm like, I think maybe she was even on this season. But anyway, I am going to tell you now the panel's guesses. Their thoughts on her were: Ken said Catherine Hahn from Parks and Rec, which the audience liked. Nicole said Zooey Deschanel. I'm almost certain her name is pronounced Zooey. Everyone pronounces it Zoe. It's got 2 O's. Pretty sure it's Zooey, but anyway, Zooey Deschanel. But then she changed to Eliza Schlesinger, whoever she is. A lot of people seem to know who she is, but I don't know. I don't know who Eliza Schlesinger is. The name is familiar, but I don't right offhand know who she is. I should have looked up, I guess. And Robin said Aubrey Plaza, and I was like, again, have no idea who she is. And then Ken was like, yeah, exactly, Parks and Rec. And I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, and they showed her picture, and I was like, yeah, okay, I do know who she is. But anyway, then he changed his mind to Whitney Cummings, who is apparently a comedian. I don't know who she is either. And I keep trying to remember, there was a female comedian I saw at the school here by, like the college by where I live when I was attending college there. She was there with Demetri Martin. And I never can remember who the female one was that I saw, but she was not real feminine like. But yeah, I went to see him and figured one of my sons would want to go with me, and neither of them wanted to go. And I was like, seriously? It's freaking Demetri Martin and it's free. But anyway. And when Robin changed his guest to Whitney Cummings, people in the audience really seemed to like that guess as well. He has really been on a roll this season. He has got several right. I don't think they're doing the golden ear thing again this season, but if they were, he'd have it in the bag right now. And I also made note that she mentioned classmates from high school and your life's decisions, which got me to thinking like Ashley Tisdale and Lucas Graybill were the ones that they called Grandma and Grandpa in High School Musical. And I was like, it could possibly be one or the other of them. Pink for Sharpay, Ashley Tisdale, she was on Sweet Life with Zach and Cody. I feel like she was like 15 or 16 when she did that, though. I could be wrong about that. But, you know, they've been guessing her a lot and they've been wanting her to be on there. So it actually could be Ashley Tisdale. I wish that I had brought my pen over here with me so I could make notes about who I decide, who I changed my mind it might be. But yeah, when she said that, I was like, oh, so it could be Vanessa Hudgens. It could be the lady that played for Monique on there. It could be any female from High School Musical, pretty much. But yeah, I'm all over the place with her. I don't think Ashley Tisdale does stand-up comedy, and I'm not sure where, like, what the clue that says she can't sit. I'm not sure exactly what that would mean for her. Oh my gosh, she can't sit. Guys, didn't they do a remake of the movie Mannequin? Maybe something like that, where Rebel Wilson played for the mannequin. Didn't she play? I think she did. I keep going back to Rebel Wilson for her, partly because of her voice when she sang. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Rebel Wilson for her because they have guessed her a lot also. Not as much as Ashley Tisdale though, but yeah. So anyway, the final new performer was Avocado. Had a very, very cute outfit, very sparkly. The first clue for him said that he's a dude's dude, which immediately had me thinking, and I'm not going to think of who it was now. He's a dude's dude. Oh yeah, that made me think of Owen Wilson, and I was like, well, I'll have to see about the clues, you know. And I was like, there are several people that could relate to. And they showed a city background, which is not very helpful. A lot of times the backgrounds aren't. Said he's a funny guy now, but he's light years away from where he first started, which of course made my mind go to the Buzz Lightyear movies and Toy Story and all of that. Though I will admit that I could not remember who talked for Buzz Lightyear on the movies whenever I first thought of the movies. So they showed a bald eagle that broke a window. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah. More on that later. Bald eagle that broke a window. Lost my place on that. And he said he used to be an average Joe working in construction, which made me go to Tim Allen. He's a real get your hands dirty kind of guy. I'm still leaning toward Tim Allen at this point. Said he didn't want to work outside forever, wanted that air-conditioned life, and really wanted to make people laugh. He met a buddy who helped him trade in his tools for some sweet, sweet AC. And so there was the show, on Tool Time. He was still using tools, but there were the tools on that show. And then on Last Man Standing, he just works in the outdoor store thingy that him and the other guy started together. So it's like, to me, it's still referencing Tim Allen, right? And he said, after some success, he wanted to expand his reach. He took a risk on a whole new venture that became a billion-dollar industry, which still had me thinking TV, Last Man Standing, this outdoor store thingy, $1 billion industry, right? He said he was holding a mic, and this other guy was wearing headphones, which made me think of a recording studio to all of the panel to podcast. But yeah, I was like, I mean, it could be a recording studio, right? There was a gas can that they showed when he was like he's going to work inside instead of doing construction. He dedicated his diss track to the comedian who's legally required to appear on every Fox show, he said. And that was Ken. So, as I said, my mind went to Tim Allen early on. Then it went with thinking it could be a recording studio and the $1 billion industry thing to Dr. Dre, Eminem. And I was kind of all over the place on all of them, wasn't I? He sang Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles, and he sounded so familiar to me, but I could not decide based on his voice who he was. He was definitely funny. Jon Lovitz's clue for him was he's really into home renovation, but it's not like he's a property brother, right? Those guys are handsome. And then they did some back and forth, which I will, well, I guess I'll go ahead and say that. But those guys are handsome, he said. Avocado has a face you want to listen to. And then Avocado asked Lovitz, when's the last time someone mistook you for George Clooney? When's the last time you passed a mirror you didn't crack? So I felt like him and Jon Lovitz knew each other. A lot of funny people do know each other. A lot of people in the industry know each other. So I was like, I personally feel like they know each other personally. And Jon Lovitz responded, quote, when's the last time you made a joke that was funny, end quote. So that banter back and forth was really funny, I thought. So anyway, yeah, with him being a property brother and liking to do renovations, I was back to Tim Allen or Bob Vila. Didn't really think it was Bob Vila, more leaning toward Tim Allen. So the panel's guesses for him were Nicole guessed Harrison Ford, and then changed to Joe Rogan when she guessed Harrison Ford. She's like, $1 billion industry, hello, Star Wars. And I was like, I mean, Indiana Jones, hello. Anyway, just skip over Indiana Jones and go straight to Star Wars. But anyway, I didn't even realize he was in the Star Wars movies for quite some time. So, that being said, I've lost my place again. I'm good at that, ain't I? But yeah, she changed to Joe Rogan because of his most popular, famous podcast. And I was like, oh, that's quite a leap. Does Joe Rogan, well, she said that Joe Rogan did used to do construction and then became an announcer. I don't know about that. He was a fighter, I think. Could be wrong about that. But anyway, so apparently I somehow missed a comedy mask in his clues, which Tim Allen's a funny guy. Comedy mask, whatever, you know. So anyway, Jenny mentioned the Joker. She said the Joker like a Mark Maron, and I'm like, to me that Mark Maron guy looks like the guy that plays for the Sergeant on Gotham. I don't know that he ever played the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix played the Joker. The guy that plays for Ian on Shameless, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, played for the Joker, but I was like, pretty sure it's not either of them. Of course, Joaquin Phoenix can sing. They did their own singing and Walk the Line. But yeah, so Robin guessed Tim Allen, who, for the record, has a podcast, as I said, on Last Man Standing or a vlog. I'm pretty sure they call it a podcast on there, though. And Tim Allen also did the voice of Buzz Lightyear, which Ken, I'm pretty sure it was mentioned it, and someone said that the mic could represent doing voiceovers instead of a podcast. And we did have that light years away clue, you know. So The votes came in, and the first character revealed was, if you haven't seen the episode yet, stop watching. Unless you want to know, or don't plan to watch it. But anyway, so yeah, the first one that got revealed was Bride, which surprised me because I thought it would be Avocado, and they did some jokes on the show about that they thought it would be Avocado. But yeah, it was Bride, and I was like, oh, what? I thought maybe he would beat Snowflake, but I didn't know for sure because, like I said, I thought they were both really good. Oh, goodness me. So yeah, I was surprised to see him go home first, but as always, it's like, yay, we get to see who the person is, right? So the panel's final guesses for him, they pretty much went with who they said to start with. Ken stuck with Matthew McConaughey, which the audience did not seem to like as much as they did when he initially said it, when he said it then. Jenny went with Vin Diesel, which I thought was a very bad guess because, like, what does he have to do with any of the clues other than taking his shirt off in movies? I don't know. Not that being an action hero. Yeah, that was just a bad guess. But anyway, Robin stuck with Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was like, no, I don't think so. Nicole went with Sammy Hagar from Van Halen. And I went with the British singer known around the globe, Ozzy Osbourne. All the while going, maybe I should stick with Michael Bisping or one of the wrestlers that I had considered, but I don't know. And I thought it was really interesting that none of them ever, I don't think any of them ever even guessed a wrestler or fighter. And I also thought that it was funny that at the point where I was watching them tell their guesses, I had already decided to go with Ozzy Osbourne, and Nicole said Sammy Hagar. And I was like, that's just too funny. But he turned out to be, drumroll, Chris Jericho. Yeah, he was a wrestler. It was really good to see him on there. And I'm like, once again, somebody that the panel is always guessing, but they didn't guess for this one. And I feel like they just did not even notice the belt thing with the music notes on it that was shaped like a wrestling belt. And, you know, when I was thinking about the world champion thing, I was like, I mean, it could be a UFC belt, and that was where I got Michael Bisping from, and he has been in a few movies and has had his shirt off in some of them. But yeah, so my sister was thinking The Rock, and I considered him off and on, and I'm like, that initial clue that I almost always miss, like it has words to the side of them when they come out, and his initial clue was that he smashed a rock, and I was like, well, I mean, that could be any wrestler. It could be an actor, like I considered Jason Statham. It could be an actor who was in something where he got the best of The Rock, you know? So I didn't really feel like it was The Rock. It was great to see Chris Jericho on there, though he is very entertaining. And when he was performing his song, he was extremely entertaining. And I'm sorry, y'all, this is turning out to be longer than I wanted it to be, longer than I ever want them to be. But I'm a chatty Cathy, as I always say. And I threw that little bit in there about American Horror Story at the first because just it was very emotional for me. So Avocado and Snowstorm faced off in the Battle Royale with a song for Robin, which was You're So Vain by Carly Simon. I love that song, not gonna lie. We sang that song some on a church bus to a couple of guys, me and one of my sisters. But anyway, Drew Carey came on. He had the crown. He was being funny, and he was the one said he didn't have anything prepared for Avocado because everyone thought that he was going to be the first one revealed. Even when he was signing his papers backstage, they were like, "Oh, don't worry about Avocado. He's going home." But yeah. So anyway, they sang "You're So Vain," and of course, Avocado did not do an excellent job singing it, but he, in my personal opinion, was very entertaining, and I liked his performance of it better than the first song. I'm not going to say that he sang it better because I felt like he sang the first one better, but this one was more entertaining, I think, because of what the song itself was. I couldn't make Avocado sound like Tim Allen, but I decided that he's probably still him. As I said, to me, his voice was familiar, but I couldn't place his voice. Never mind, I'm not going to say that right now. Anyway, but to me, Snowstorm totally sounded like Rebel Wilson, who, as I noted earlier, does do stand-up comedy. And when they were singing this song, I was like, I close my eyes a lot of times when I'm listening to the songs, so I'm not looking at them in that outfit and try to figure out who they are. And that's what my son told me a long time ago. He feels like I need to just listen to them, but in the outfits, they don't always sound like themselves. I'm sure that a lot of people have noticed that. But so the panel voted, only the panel votes on these battle royales, and I feel like they've made some faux pas on that. But anyway, and it was funny because Ken said something about which one of them was going to be crowned the king or queen, and Jenny says, I mean, if you voted wrong, it could be the wrong person. But anyway, so the panel voted, and the other character revealed was, drumroll please, I don't even know if you can hear that on there, Avocado. Which was not surprising, really, because Snowstorm did much better on this song than Avocado did. I would have liked to have seen how the Bride would have done on this song. I feel like he would have killed it. But anyway, didn't get the chance to see that. So the panel's final guesses for Avocado were Robin stuck with Tim Allen, Jenny stuck with Marc Maron, Ken said Dax Shepard, which I liked, but I wasn't sure. He does have a podcast. I wasn't sure where the construction and some of the other stuff fit in with him. Though he actually is in Idiocracy. Anyway, I'm trying to think if there's construction stuff on there. I'm sure there is. And Nicole stuck with Joe Rogan. He turned out to be, remember that bald eagle that flew into the window, y'all? I had an epiphany when I was reading this just now. I went, oh my holy freaking frack. Because I was telling my son who he was, and someone that was on the show that was connected to him, he was Adam Carolla, from the famous podcast Loveline. And I think that's the one that they still do. Him and Dr. Drew do together. Dr. Drew, the bald eagle from The Masked Singer. Bald eagle flew into the window and cracked the window. Oh my gosh, y'all, the clue was right there. That was the one. That was his clue. Bald eagle flew into the window. Dr. Drew, Adam Carolla. Sometimes when I go back and I'm reading through this stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I didn't get that, I personally, sorry Adam, have not ever been a huge fan of Adam Carolla on The Man Show. I prefer Jimmy Kimmel. He's just always seemed too crude to me, but it was good to see him on the show. And he is someone that they have guessed a whole lot, as well as most of them are this season. And as I've said before, I feel like maybe this is going to be the last season because it seems like they're having a lot of the people on there who the panel have been guessing. I hope that they do at least 10 seasons personally. I don't really care for this format, but I do like that they change things up. Always, 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 always. So anyway, so now after we knew who he was, Jenny claimed that she knew it was him, but didn't think Avocado was tall enough for it to be him. Geez, Jenny, you didn't know it was him. If you knew it was him, the bald eagle clue would have made you go, but it has to be Adam Carolla because there was a bald eagle in the clues and Dr. Drew was on, right? She didn't even voice her guesses on most of the characters when they were first going around this time. And honestly, I was a little worried about her on this episode. Like, it seemed like maybe she wasn't feeling as well as she does a lot of the time or something, though she did do the intro deal. So intro comedy skit thing, which was cute and funny. But anyway, yeah. So next week, Nick said, will be Super Freaky Scare Night. And I'm going, did y'all think this was going to come on around Halloween time or like what? But anyway, yeah, he said it's going to be Super Freaky Scare Night. I can't wait to see that. I'm looking forward to that. Hope it doesn't scare any little kids too much, though. If I recall correctly, that's what he said. Anyway, Super Freaky Scare Night. I meant to write it down when he said it, and I didn't. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And so my sister told me that the show will be on both Wednesday and Thursday next week. So it's going to be on Thanksgiving. And I don't know if they're re-showing the episode that's on Wednesday night on Thursday, or if they're going to be separate episodes. I didn't ask her about that, but it makes me wonder if perhaps they made an episode specifically for Thanksgiving, maybe a Halloween themed one and then a Thanksgiving themed one. I look forward to seeing that. So of course, they don't really tell who the second one is. It's going to be revealed. They tell who the king or queen of the episode is, and Snowstorm was crowned by Drew Carey. She will face off against 2 new characters next Wednesday. I look forward to seeing that. I look forward to seeing a couple of new clues for her, and she can't sit down. That clue. I know it may not mean a whole lot, but the fact that Chris Jericho's clue was that he crushed a rock and he was a wrestler, and him and The Rock did also have a rivalry. And as a matter of fact, let me tell you what, when I was looking into wrestlers that had that were rivals of, I may have mentioned him, I don't remember if I did last week, but when I was looking into wrestlers who had rivalries with The Rock, the 2 people that it showed were Chris Jericho and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I had forgotten that the panel often guesses Chris Jericho. And I was like, I mean, I don't feel like that's Chris Jericho. So it was right there in front of my face with just that one little clue that they showed at the first. So I think I'm going to go back and look at all of those little clues like that and see if I can figure out who they are just from that alone. I'm going to let y'all go now because I'm going on 1 hour, and I took a super long nap because I had so much trouble sleeping last night, and I'm laying down trying to go to fall asleep for my nap, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to sleep again tonight because I'm taking a late nap. Slept 4 hours. I say last night, technically, well, it's midnight now here, but technically I slept from exactly pretty much exactly 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So it was morning sleeping. And then I took a nap from pretty much 4:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So I ended up getting like 10 hours of sleep, but most of the time I don't get enough sleep. So anyway, I've got a lot that I need to do, and I need to make me something to eat. So I am going to let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed my videos. Feel free to subscribe if you would like to, like the videos, comment. I always try to respond back to people's comments, whether the comments are negative or positive or whatever. If you totally disagree with who I think people are, let me know. If you have a thought on who you think that people might be, let me know. So, trying to think, Ashley Tisdale. Anyway. Everyone have a great whatever time of night or day it is in your part of the world. Stay safe and stay positive. Laters.